Hi everyone, I am hopeful that all you will be fine. In today's session, we will learn how you can actually create a Zoom Video SDK app using the ReactJS. Okay, so the first thing is that you must have a Video SDK account on a Zoom. If you have already account with the Zoom.us and you are going to navigate to the marketplace.zoom.us, as you can see, I have already a Zoom.us account and I'm just navigating on marketplace.zoom.us. When I'm hovering this drop down, you can see here I do not have any build video SDK app. And also once I clicked on build app, you can see here different type of apps are available, but there is no any Zoom video SDK app here. Okay. The reason is that for the Zoom Video SDK, you must be need to register yourself on a zoom.us/by/video SDK. You need to navigate to that URI and here you need to register yourself. Okay. So basically on the registration process, on the registration form, you have a different sections. You can see here the first section is regarding configure the products, create an account, payment and review order. So inside the configure product, you need to go with the pay as you go and you need to select a usage type and you need to continue. And inside the create an account, you need to enter your information. And inside the create an account form, you must be need a working email. Okay, and that email must be not belong to any other Zoom account. Okay, so that key point you must be have in your mind. And then you need to enter your payment information and at the end you will review the order and confirm the order. Once you have completed this order, you will receive a notification from the Zoom. Okay, and from there you need to click on activate link, and once you have activated your video SDK account, then you will have a 10,000 free minutes usable within a month. So that means on every month you will have a 10,000 minutes for free. Once you exceed that limit, then Zoom will charge, okay, as per the rate for the per hour or per minute. Okay, so I have already Zoom Video SDK account. I have logged in that account with a different browser. So just navigate there. And here, once I click on this drop down, you can see here I have a build video SDK. Okay, so once I click that, you can see we will redirect to the credentials regarding the video SDK app. You can see here we have SDK key and SDK secret now. Okay, so now we first need to create a NextJS project. I am just going to use a NextJS so that we can create the API endpoint and the front end on both same project. So that's why I chosen NextJS. Okay, I have already opened a terminal where we need to apply NextJS CLI command called create next app, and we name it Zoom Video SDK and have a NextJS. Hit enter. Yes, no, and we will wait until app will be generated. Okay, app is successfully generated. Now we need to navigate to the VS Code, and we are inside the Video SDK Next.js project. And here we need to install two different packages. One is regarding the Zoom Video SDK, and we need to install that by typing npm i zoom/video SDK. Okay, and we also need to install the JSRSA sign package. Using that package, we will generate the session tokens. Okay, both packages are installed successfully. Now we need to navigate to the project root directory, and inside the root, we need to create a folder called constants. Inside the constants, we need to create a Zoom constant file. Inside the Zoom constants, we need to create the Zoom constant where we need to store the Zoom SDK credentials. So we say Zoom, and here we need to say video SDK. And inside that we need to set key and secret. Need to format, and we need to export this. So we'll say module.export. Here we need to type Zoom, save, format. Need to close this, also this. And then we need to navigate to the pages. Inside the API, we need to create a folder first, and we name this folder Zoom. And inside the Zoom, we need to create an index file, index.js, and inside that we first need to import the JSRSA sign package, and we name it KJUR, and we need to require JSRSA sign, and we also need to import the constants, and from the constants, from the Zoom constant, we need to import the Zoom so we can get the SDK key and secret. Okay, so we say require constants, Zoom constants, and here we need to import Zoom. Okay. Now we need to create an endpoint. We say export default function handler, and we need to define. We need to pass the request and response object. Inside the API endpoint where we need to generate the session tokens, we first need to create the expiry and issue it. So I'm just copy and pasting that code snippet. And then we need to create a header. So we say const header. Inside the header, we need to set the algorithm by setting ALG to HS256. And we need to set the type, and we will set that by TYP. And we set the type JWT. And now we need to create a payload, const payload. Inside the payload, we first need to set the version. And the current version of the video SDK is 1.5.5, so we need to set here version 1. And then we need to set the app key. And we will get the app key from zoom.videosdk.key. And we also need to set the password. Inside the Zoom Video SDK docs, you will see that the password is mentioned as an optional field, but it is a required field. There is a typo mistake with the Zoom Video SDK doc, so you must be needed to set the password inside the payload. If you are ignoring that or not going to set the password, you will get an error regarding the joining. Okay, so you must be need to add the password inside the payload, and we will get the password from request.body.password. Then we need to set the topic by TPC field inside the payload, and we will get the topic from request.body.topic. And we also need to set the role type, and we will get the role type from request.body.role. We also need to set the session key, name the session key, and we will set the session key value as a request.body.topic. And we need to set the issue date. We'll set the IAT variable and also expiry. Okay, and we say expiry. Okay, then we first need to stringify the header and payload. So we say as header. We will use JSON.stringify, and we need to set the header. And we also need to stringify the payload. So we say as payload. Need to call JSON stringify, and we need to pass payload. Then we need to create a session token. So this is session token, and we need to call the package. AWS.sign, and we need to set the algorithm HS256. Then we need to set the header, the AS header, the stringified header, and then we need to set the stringified payload by setting as payload, and we need to set the secret, the Zoom Video SDK secret, and we will get the secret from Zoom constant.videoSDK.secret. Then we need to response. So we say return response.json, and we need to say it here session token. Need to format the code, and then inside the pages we need to create a component, a React component, and we name it zoom.jsx. And here we first need to install a package called Axios, so we can request our created endpoint which we have created inside the Zoom here. So we need to install the package npm Axios. Need to import that. So we say Axios, require Axios. We need to create a function component here. So we name it meeting, and we need to define the definition. We need to return. We just return fragment. Now we need to build the solution that we can see, or we can determine that all the things are fine till now. And we will build the solution by typing command npm run dev. Need to navigate to the URL, just compiling and building, and the solution is successfully built. You can see we are inside the NextJS 13. And now we need to import the SDK. So here we say const video SDK. Either we can directly import that. So we can say it here import video SDK, and we say from a Zoom Video SDK. We need to save this. And now we need to navigate to the Zoom component. And you can see once you have imported the video SDK inside the component, and at the UI you are facing window is not defined error. Okay, so for that error fix, we need to use effect. We need to import use effect first, and here we need to use that use effect. We need to remove this, save this. Meeting will be here, save. Now we also need to name the package, so we say meeting.display name it meeting, and then we also need to export this, so we say export default meeting. Now we just need to navigate to the page, and you can see we are inside the page. Okay, for the styling issue, we need to remove the background of the body tag, so we say body. We need to navigate to the styles, and inside the global we have a body and we have a background. We need to remove this, save this. Now just you can see here it is a white page. Still you can see if we import that package here, so we say video SDK from Zoom, you will still face the window not found error. Refresh, you can see, and this error is happening due to the import of video SDK. We need to remove this from here. We need to import that inside the use effect, so we need to set async, and here we say const video SDK, and we say await import at Zoom video SDK dot default. And once you import the video SDK package inside the use effect, you will also face an error called destroy is not a function. You can see here on the UI it is mentioning that destroy is not a function, and it is a pure ReactJS error due to the importing a video SDK package. Okay, so for the fixing that issue or fixing that error, we need to remove first async and also import, and then we need to type here return, and we need to create a handler, and here we need to import that. Okay, so here we need to type const video SDK, and we say await import at Zoom video SDK. Need to set default, save, and we also need to log the video SDK version so that we can see from the UI end that SDK is loaded successfully. So video SDK version, save this. Now we need to reload the page. You can see here is no any error, and once you navigate to the console, you can see here is a version number 1.5.5. okay, that means the SDK is loaded successfully now. Okay, now we first need to import the next router, so we say router from next router. We need to get the query from the router, so we say let payload, and we will say router dot query. Okay, now we need to call the endpoint which we have created inside the API/Zoom index. We need to build a request using XUS, so we say const data await XUS. We need to set the URL, and the URL will be API/Zoom because it is inside the API folder and inside the Zoom folder, so that's why the path will be API/Zoom. Okay, we need to set the method, and the method will be post data, and data will be payload, and we need to bind then response. Here we need to return response. We need to bind catch error. We need to return error. Save this. We need to initialize the video SDK here. Before that, we first need to set the password inside the payload, so we say payload password, and we need to set this password to ABC123. Save. We need to place a breakpoint here so we can see that request is coming along. We need to reload the page. I think we need to restart the project, so that's why changes are not loading. Now we need to reload. You can see we are already inside the breakpoint. Continue, and you can see the endpoint is received a request, and you can see inside the body we have a password. Right now on this page we do not have any query strings, so that's why the only password field is inside the payload. Okay, we need to continue this. Now we need to set the query parameters. So here we need to set topic. The topic will be learn with Nick. Need to set the role, and role will be 0. And we need to set the username, and username will be Nick. Okay. And we need to hit enter. Need to click on continue. Continue once again, and you can see inside the request.body we have a password, we have a topic, we have a role, and the topic also. Now just we need to continue from here, and I'm pretty sure that we have successfully generated the token, the session token. Okay. Now we need to first create the client from the video SDK. So we say let client, and we need to call video SDK or create client. And then we need to initialize the client. So we say client init. We need to say language enus. Okay. And then we need to call join. So we say client.join. Here we need to say the topic, and we will get topic from payload.topic. We need to set token, and we will get that from data.session_token. We also needed username. We will get that from payload.username. And we need to set the password. So we say payload.password. Need to bind then response. And here we need to bind pay. And we need to bind error. Here we need to log. So we say console.log error while joining. Need to log that error. Inside the then promise, we need to create the string. So we say let string, and we will get the string from client.getMediaString. Need to save, place a breakpoint here, and also here, and also here. Okay. And we need to hit enter once again. And we are inside the user effect return. So inside the data, you can see we have a session token, and we have also topic, username, password. Just initialize the SDK and join. Continue. And you can see you are facing an error, and the error is totally belong that we have not set it the SDK credentials inside the constant you have seen already. We have just set it the empty string. So now we need to copy the credentials from the dashboard. So we need to copy the SDK key. Need to paste that here. And we also need to copy the secret here. Save this. Now we need to place a breakpoint on the endpoint so we can see that secret and key is loaded successfully. Need to hit enter once again. Continue. Continue. And you can see here, now we have a SDK key and SDK secret. Continue. And we need to continue also once again. And you can see we are still facing the same error. Okay, 200. That this account does not exist or does not belong to you. We have already set it all the SDK credentials, and we have configured the session token payload. All the things are fine, but we are still facing the error. And that error now is totally belong to the parsing of the role type. Okay. So you can see here once we are requesting. So now we need to also reload so we can see inside the debug mode. Continue. And here you can see the role type is a string. Okay. We need to pass that to integer. Once you set it role as an integer, then the things will be work fine and you will be joined in the inside the session. So for that error, we need to pass this role to integer from a string. So we say pass int. We need to paste that role inside there. Save it. Continue. Continue. And now we need to continue. continue, and we need to reload, continue, need to remove the breakpoints. There are too many breakpoints. We need to place only breakpoint here, continue, and continue now. And you can see the SDK is joined. You can see SDK is loading. That means we are inside the session. Due to the breakpoint removal, this then is not triggered. So I just place a breakpoint now, so that you can see the things live in action. Continue. And you can see we have successfully joined inside the SDK, and we are now getting the streams. Continue. Okay. You can also see that thing from the UI, from the dev tools. You can see the SDK is joining. Okay. Now we need to place a video tag so that we can see the self view. So here we need to set the video, and we need to set the ID to that video called self view. Okay. And we also need to create a canvas for the participant. So we name that participant C. Participant C means participants canvas. Need to save this. And we also need to now create a CSS styling regarding that component. So inside the pages, we need to create a file called zoom.module.css. And inside that, we need to create a room class. And we need to set the room, and the height will be 40 VS unit, and the width will be 80 VW. We need to set the margin top 10%. We need to set left margin 10%, and we need to set the background silver. And we need to also create the self view class, the CSS selector class. So inside that, we need to set the height will be 100%, and the width will also be 100%. No, we need to set width 50%, and we need to set object fit to cover. Save. And we also need to style the canvas. So we say participant C, and inside that we need to set the same styling for now. Save this. And now we need to import the style sheet inside the component. So here we say import zoom styles from zoom.module.css. Save this. It is showing an error. We need to fix the path. Now it is loaded successfully, and now we need to set the styling here. So we say class name. We need to call zoom styles dot self view. Before that, I think we need to first create a div. We need to place an ID called zoom, and we need to copy and paste these both self and participant canvas inside the room. We need to set the class name. So we get the class name from zoom.styles-room. Save. And now we need to navigate to the browser. Here we need to close this. Just refresh. And you can see from the UI, we have a container regarding the room. We need to change the height a bit longer. So we need to change the height from here. We need to set this to 60%. Save this. Now it is looking fine. And now we need to set the styling regarding the self view. We have already set the class to the self view, and now we need to set also class to the canvas. So we say zoom styles dot participants. See, okay. Now we need to confirm that class name. So just copy and paste that here. Save it. We need to change the colors regarding both of them. So we need to color this to background, and we say blue. I think we set this to azure, and we just keep going with the participant at the same background. So we can differentiate the two different containers for the self view and participant. You can see here both are differentiated. Now we need to render the self view video inside this video. So here we first need to select the self view. So we say document dot get element by ID, and we will say the ID here, and the ID is self view. We also need to select the participants canvas. Participant C document dot get element by ID. We need to set the ID called participant C. Need to save that. And here we need to render the self view stream inside the self view container. So we say stream dot render video, and we need to set the container called self view, and we will get the user ID from client dot get current user info dot user ID, and we need to set the width. Keep going that with the 5454. Save. We need to bind then. Also we need to bind cage, so we can see error if there is any error regarding the self view rendering. So we say console.log self view render error. Log the error, and here we need to log console.log user current user is joined. Need to log the user ID, so we'll get that from client.get current user info.user ID. Save it once again. Now we need to navigate to the browser, and we need to reload this. It is mentioning an error, so self-rendering error. User is not sent the video. Okay, and that error is totally belong that we have a do not started the current user video. Okay, so for that we first need to stop that video by calling stream.start video, and inside the options we need to set element, video element, and the video element will be the self view. Okay, and we need to bind them, and we say response, and we need to move this code from here to here. Then we need to bind cage, so we say error. We need to console.log, and we need to say start video error. We say error. Okay, now we just need to navigate to the browser once again. We need to reload the page, and you can see now it is asking for the can, so we click allow, and here you can see the video is started. You can see the current user joined, and that user is inside this container. Okay, and now we need to bind the other joined user, and for that we need to render that video get all user. So we say client dot get all user dot for each user. Okay, for this demonstration we will just only join two participants. Okay, and I will create another session where we can join multiple participants inside the canvas container. You can here see. So inside this container, canvas container, for this session I'm just going to joining another participant. So inside the video SDK session, only two participants will be joined inside this session. Okay, so get current all users user, and then we need to render that user stream. So we say stream for render video, and we need to set here participant canvas. We need to set the user ID, and we will get the user ID from user ID from user.user ID. We need to set the width 540 540 00. Okay, and we need to set the quality will be 2. Save. And we also need to bind the event called user edit, and for that we need to create a function here. So we say function bind events, and here we also need to pass the stream as a parameter, and here we will access the client. Okay, so we say client dot on. Here we need to set user edit, need to bind the handler, and inside that we set payload parameter, and here we need to render the other user. Okay, so for that we will use stream dot render video. We will need to copy the code snippet from here, and we just directly paste that, and we need to set the user ID. We will get that user ID from payload 0.user ID. We will debug that. So I think the user ID for this user edit, that means second participant, maybe on index 2. I will debug that live here. Okay, so I think we now need to call this bind events from here. Okay, so we say bind events. We need to pass stream. Save this, and now we just need to reload this, and we need to copy, and here we need to rename the user. Okay, and now you can see here the one participant is already joined, and we need to hit enter, and now we are inside the payload. So we can see there is only one participant, which is edit and nec1, and we will get the user ID. Okay, now here that user will be started to render. I think we need to debug that. So we have some errors on console, and it is due to the promise issue. Okay, so we need to bind them. So the response console.log, we say user joined, and the user is a payload on index 0.user ID, and we need to also bind the cage. Error, we need to log console.log error while user edit video render, and the error is error. Save. Now we need to reload once again. Need to continue. And now the error is regarding the canvas. I think the problem is here. Okay, And we do not have a binder then and cage also here. So we need to copy the code then and cage from here, and we need to paste it here. Okay, and we need to change this get all users, save. Now reload. Now it is working, I think, fine. Console. It is still mentioning that error while get user video render. Reason received canvas is false. I think we need to reload and we will check that the canvas is selected or queried inside the canvas object successfully. So we need to hover on this. Well, you can see this is a null. That's why we are facing the problem. So the issue is here. Okay. I think we need to verify. So it is ID participants C. We need to copy this directly here from here. And we need to paste that here. Oh, it is a participants, and here I type the participants. Save. Now we need to reload once again. And now we can see we have a canvas element. Just continue. And you can see the both participants are joined. That's why all the canvas is black. We need to place some margins or padding so that we can differentiate the both streams. We need to set some styling regarding that. So we need to continue. Here also both participants are joined. We need to set some padding. So here we need to set padding 2%. It is semicolon, semicolon. Also we need to set padding here. Save. Now you can see I have just style very weird, but differentiation I just placed that so that you can see the both participants are joined successfully. Okay, I think we need to reduce the padding to 1% and 1% here. Save. Now it is a bit good. No, not good, but seems like something better. So this session is going a bit long, and I'm just going to end the session, and in the next session we will continue the Zoom Video SDK, and I will create the controls regarding the joining, leaving, audio, mute, start the game, stop. Okay, take care. Bye bye.